Once you put this face in there, it becomes Asian American. Simple. You don't have to write it that way. It's something that people overthink. Write a good character. Once you put me in it, or anyone who looks like me in it, or any person of color, any BIPOC individual, will change the makeup of that character.
Hello, everyone. I'm Audrey Yap for Variety. This is Represent Legends.
I will never forget what you said.
You can have Tibet.
What? The family thinks it's better not to tell her, so you can't say anything.
Have you no son?
I am blessed with 2 daughters. I will fight.
He is known as Hollywood's favorite Asian dad, but throughout his lengthy career, he has taken on so many other roles. Of course, I am talking about Tzi Ma.
I don't know if I can live up to the legend moniker, but anyway.
We wouldn't have invited you onto this if we didn't think so. You grew up on Staten Island. Your parents ran a Chinese restaurant. What leads somebody to go, you know what, I want to be an actor one day?
Out of the womb, I knew I wanted to be an actor. No, I think there are several reasons I believe that led me down this path, right? One is I'm the youngest of 7. So when you run a family-run restaurant, everyone is busy. There is not one person that is lingering idly by, except the youngest one. So I was the entertainment. I would run around, the restaurant, really too young to help. So I really just try to keep everybody in a lighter mood, if everything gets tense a little bit. And I believe the second most important reason why I think this happened was it was a way to circumvent racism. So once you go into junior high school or middle school, that community expands. So it includes other, communities that don't really know you. And that's when the racism kicked in. Name calling, fights, really the first week practically every day.
Wow.
And that's why I took up martial arts, because I wasn't gonna take it lying down. And when I got into the drama club, it's like a whole new world. Obviously in junior high school, you do a lot of musicals. You can't do dramas, everything's a musical. So we would be taken to Broadway. I just fell in love with the art. And once we put the play on, the first play was Annie Get Your Gun, where I played Buffalo Bill. I remember when I stepped on stage, everybody just laughed. His Asian face, right? Cowboy hat, gray hair, I just spray my whole head, with gray. I believe by the end of the night, I had the biggest applause. And you know how it goes. Once you get this, you kind of go, okay, I kind of like this.
I know Mako was also a huge influence for you. He's an icon in Asian American theater. How was he as a mentor?
He shapes how I approach everything in this business. His sense of integrity, his paying forward attitude. Mako basically took me under his wings. He said, you should direct too. I said, well, I've only been in the business a couple of years. He said, you have the talent. He's got such confidence. He instills confidence in you. Growing up, you really need mentors. And I truly believe that. Someone who's there to lend a hand always and to cheer you on. I think it's very, very important. I found that theater was also much more accepting of people who are different, because at that time, there were a lot of experimental theater going on.
You get your start in theater, but then you end up in Hollywood. How did that happen?
By chance, actually. I never had any intentions of coming to Hollywood at all. I was happy doing theater. I was traveling all over the world. Every play I've been doing 2 or 3, 4, 5 different roles. So it was fun for me. And I also realized that, I need to keep my needs to a minimal. I don't want to do things I don't want to do. And I realized that that's important for me, that I don't want to get stuck. And I could dare say everything I've done in my career, I chose myself. No one forced me to do it. I remember doing a play at the Hudson Guild in New York called In Perpetuity Throughout the Universe by Eric Overmars. a South Coast rep asked us to bring the play to South Coast. So we would, at South Coast, there was a writer's strike. 1988, the first writer's strike. So the town was just basically dead. Now, you know, Orange County is not that close to LA. So if things were going on, nobody comes to see you in a play in Orange County. Forget about it. But since no one was doing anything, they all came and saw the play. And there were some directors who came, some producers, because they were bored out of their minds. There was nothing to do. And, you know, we had great notices and said, wow, who is this guy? Who is this actor? I've never seen anybody like that. And they started calling the theater and said, you know, would Ty be interested in coming up to LA for a meeting? Nothing from to do, no jobs or anything, but, you know, just to meet, just to say hi. So I remember going into Bob Hoffman's office at Fox. He goes, do you mind reading something for me? So he gave me this monologue from LA Law. That if and when we go back to work, I want to put you in LA Law. Our show closed on a Sunday. That's when the writers went back to work on Monday. The immediate Monday following that Sunday, we closed. I was working on Wednesday.
Wow.
Guess what? In LA Law.
Would you consider LA Law your first big break?
Yes, because it was a non-ethno-specific role. His name was Fletcher. I think, that's it. How does that work?
Tell me about just like having that first experience. What were you thinking? What were you feeling?
Too optimistic. Then, of course, everything else came after, right? Then the shit hit the fan. It's like all of these stereotypical roles. But what happens is I also discovered several things about these mediums, film and television. It reaches so many people in such a short period of time that theater can never offer you that.
Is being president in a democracy even that great?
Well, I mean, it's barely a democracy. So, listen, I got a thing to get. Do we have a deal or?
Sure.
I knew it.
I said, you know, if I want to make an impact and try to reshape and rethink how we are perceived, these are the mediums that I need to get into, which I knew nothing about. I have an obligation now because of the fact that I have that advantage on you. So now I have to think about the message I want to send.
I want to speak with my daughter. Han was about to get his daughter back and you screwed it up.
I would like one of my people to help.
Of the many roles you've had, one of my favorites is as Ambassador Han in the first Rush Hour movie. I remember seeing it in theaters. I was blown away. What was shooting that movie like?
It was probably the most fun I've ever had on a set. Of all these years, that was the first time you ever seen an Asian and an African-American male as lead in a film. This combination, it's always salt and pepper, right? And you have the lethal weapons, but never with an Asian character as the lead. With an African-American man. Never happened before. So that was monumental. Chris and Jackie, the chemistry is ridiculous. They're like this. It's so crazy. Who knew? You couldn't keep a straight face on the set because they were so funny. That's the kind of energy that was on the set. I think it was contagious. And I think we need more of that. Unfortunately, you know, that stuff doesn't happen that much anymore. There's a scene where I'm getting a phone call to make the deal to get my daughter back. And then Chris comes in.
$50 million? Who you think you got? Chelsea? Is it Chelsea? Kelsey? $50 million? Who you think you got? Chelsea Carter?
You know who you talking to? $100 million? What do you think, you Chelsea Clinton? That was his line, okay? But he couldn't remember Chelsea Clinton. He said, who do you think you are? Kelsey Grammer? And then we're standing there like,
$50 million? Who you think you got? Chelsea Grammer? Chelsea?
Who that? What's his name? What's her name? Chris was just this kind of, you know, high energy, stand-up background. And of course, with Jackie, with his physicality, doing these crazy like stunts and stuff, and he would jump through the window. And of course, this boy gets hurt all the time. But he makes it fun. He laughs about it, you know? I mean, there's a lot of those moments, you know, where we just, oh my God, this is crazy. I mean, he's trying to pull the gun out of the holster and then the gun falls apart. And it's like, really, I mean, that was the set of 1,000 laughs.
At some point, you were being cast as a dad or in a fatherly role. When did that start happening?
Rush Hour. I think it started there. People start to kind of, hey, maybe we should bring Ty in and see what he can do. And mainly girls, too. For some reason, I have a lot of daughters.
So everyone decided it's better not to tell her.
Why is that better? Chinese people have saying, when people get cancer, they die.
Do you have a favorite on-screen daughter?
That's unfair, man. Come on now.
Can you rank them?
No, I can't. No, I love them all. You know what's amazing with all my daughters is they're all strong, spirited, great character, lovely, inside out, good heart. Really, I don't have a bad daughter, I'm telling you. They're all amazing, really. Look, it's an all-star daughter team. Come on.
Have you ever felt typecast in the dad roles?
No, I don't, because there are still so many more Asian American dads or Asian dads that we haven't seen. And I really want to make sure the world see us in every light possible. I played the tiger dad in Akilah and the Bee. I'm Tough as Nails, the more nurturing dad, the philandering dad. I mean, really, there are so many. And I think it's important to explore those dynamics, particularly in the Asian American family. I just want to make sure that we are seen as multifaceted. And this is just the beginning. This is a tip of an iceberg.
You said every role you've taken on is one that you're proud of, but is there a role that you regret turning down?
I don't, but there's a role that I wish I had that I didn't get. That one I can tell you about. Oh man, I wish I said, man, please let me get this role. I was praying to every deity that I know from every religion. I didn't get it, but the person got it was amazing, and that's Dr. Hang Nor in The Killing Field.
I love him like my brother, and I do anything for him, anything.
So that was a role that I was up for, and he is so good in it too. People recognize that performance, and it's about his native Cambodia. So I am glad that Dr. Hang Nor represented so well in that one particular film. That was something that I wish I could have done, I don't know. I trust my instincts, Audrey. As an actor, you need to do that. As a person, you need to do that. I think you really need to nurture that instinct in you.
Your top 3 favorite roles?
Mulan, and that's number 1.
That she's both beautiful and strong. Your job is to bring honor to the family.
King in The Quiet American is another. It's based on an extraordinary character. The character was a triple spy for 35 years and never caught. I get to play this guy.
My contact will act as gently as the situation allows.
To have that opportunity to play a role like that in the beginning of American involvement in Vietnam, unbelievable. Number 3, Tigertail.
There are many things I never told you.
It's definitely one of my more subtle performances. Basically just gave himself up, for better or for worse, for the family, for the future. It's told in a way we understand the subtleties and also understand some of the damages that comes with it, these baggages that come with this kind of journey. Off the top of my head, those are the 3.
How do you think everything that's happened in your career thus far has led you to Mulan?
I almost didn't do Mulan. I was out of town shooting, and they were already casting Mulan. I thought I lost the opportunity because I figured, they would have cast this by now. But they wanted to see more people. So I went in to meet Nikki Carroll, the director. Walked in, we had a great talk, and I said, let's read these scenes. So we did read, and I just fell in love with Nikki's direction. I was so taken by her well thought out care about this character, about how we want to portray this dad.
Ancestors, please protect her.
Needless to say, I was very happy with that audition. And then I got the call and said, we would like you to play this role. I'll be honored to, really.
You're a war hero. You've already made many great sacrifices.
It's such an important story that's part of the Chinese culture. After so many thousands of years, people are still, really taken by it. It's about how we value, or we should value, women's contribution. It's so positive, which is what we need today.
I'm Mulan. I will bring honor to us all.
Are you disappointed at all that it's not getting, because of the way the world is, it's not going to get that really, really big release that we were hoping for back in March?
Yes and no. Yes, I'm disappointed. I wanted to be there in 10,000 screens. Remember we talked about, the reach of so many people. But there's no other way to do this now. I hope that this movie can bridge some gaps that's happening today. Hopefully the theme itself is universal enough for it to impact and to have you think about certain things, given the kind of anti-Asian hate crime stuff happening because of COVID-19. We also are very much alike as opposed to the fact that we're different. It is such a complex, epic story. I am more than proud to be part of this project. And everyone in it. The cast is amazing because they put all their heart and soul in it, because they know how important this story is. I hope that work is recognized. I feel that we've been overlooked on the acting front. Parasite gets 6 Oscars, not 1 for acting.
역시.
What? How does that work?
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. Drives me up a wall. I mean, now that I'm a newly minted member of the Academy, I like to ask some of my folks and say, what goes into your thinking in terms of these performances where The Last Emperor, 10 Oscars, Best Picture, Parasite 6, Best Picture, no acting recognition, 0.
So what do you think needs to change in order for those accolades to start coming in?
I'm not an awards guy. It's not going to affect me one way or the other. That's how I feel. I figure I'll just put the work out there. I'll continue to work. However, I think for the community, it's important that we do get recognized. And I think we do need to support more. We need to campaign more. We need the community to come and say, you know what, these are some things that we should be proud of, the work that's out there. People have been talking about this for a couple of years now. Oscar too white, Really, it is going to be a collaborative effort. It's going to be something that we all need to step up. And I think the community is also changing, their tune a little bit too. I find their participation much more frequent now. I really feel that there's a change in attitude, and understanding that participation is important. Understanding that getting involved is important. Understanding that our voices need to be heard is important.
And what advice do you give to that younger generation?
Every time out, raise the stakes, man. Don't take anything for granted. I think whatever you think is the best, you could probably do more. Focus on the work. Focus on the work. That brings me through the toughest day, that I'm focusing on the work at hand. The chatter in your mind is strong. So you need to be stronger, right? Don't shortchange yourself. Challenge yourself. I'm waiting to learn something from you.
Your early drama club experience sounds like it was all about finding acceptance. But when did you finally start feeling accepted in Hollywood?
Now, took 45 years. This is less of an issue, the color of my skin. It really should never be an issue at all. Don't overthink it, is what I say. Once you put this face in there, it becomes Asian American. Simple. You don't have to write it that way. It's something that people overthink. Write a good character. Once you put me in it, or anyone who looks like me in it, or any person of color, any BIPOC individual, will change the makeup of that character.
If you just let it happen.
Let it happen, yes.